Hi everyone. I thought I'd do something a little different today here on the blog and just talk about the subject of what if no one supports my creative ventures rather than writing about it. I'm here in my office slash craft room. You can see my crazy paintings going on behind me. They're in the layering stage, and the one that's right over here my daughter helped me out with today, so it's pretty wild. But hey, it'll make for some great textures and some interesting combinations, I'm sure, later on when I figure out what these paintings are about. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day, and I've been really thinking about the subject of what do we do when we don't have any support, or we are finding that the people that we live with, probably families or roommates type of situation, are really actually kind of anti our creative expression. And there's a couple of reasons that could be happening, or there's many reasons it could be happening, but I want to explore a couple of them today and just kind of talk about what actually is happening from their perspective a little bit, and then to give you a couple of ideas of what you could try to remedy the situation. So one of the things when I think about when we're first starting to really get into our creative groove per se, it's kind of like falling in love. That's all you want to talk about. It's all you want to do. You just want to hang out and paint all day, or whatever it is you're really into. And your friends who might not be exactly on that journey yet, it feels strange to them, and it might kind of be the same feeling of they just feel kind of left out, and so they don't know the language that you're talking about and your inspiration, and have no idea why you're staying up all night doing these projects. It seems like a waste of time for them. And that's something that you'll have to, all through your creative journey, you'll hear stuff like that, and you're going to have to just learn to say, oh, okay, and think in your head, obviously, that's your opinion. Okay, I'm going to still create. Thank you. But moving on. But to live with people who are not supportive of your work, or who are confused about your work or why you're so into it, is a difficult thing, and it's a reality. A lot of us have to deal with this. So one of the problems I've noticed with creative types is we tend to be on, I don't know if you've read this book with Strength Finders, but one of the strengths that you can kind of be is it's called ideation, and it means what it sounds like. You have a lot of ideas. It doesn't necessarily mean you follow through on those ideas, but you have a ton of ideas, and those types of people are who you want when you're brainstorming. They're really, really great in companies. They're great people to work with. I have a friend who could come up with so many ideas, and it was just like, oh my goodness, okay, stop. You just had a billion awesome ideas. Now we need to figure out how to do some of them, So ideation is not a bad thing at all. And if you're a creative person, you probably have it to some degree. But the problem is, if you live with people who don't have that, they see it as somewhat frustrating, because one day, for instance, maybe one day you're really into pottery, and the whole world is pottery. You sign up for classes, you buy the supplies and the tools, and you're reading up on it, and you're super excited about it. And then 2 weeks later, you don't really like it anymore, and you think you're going to take up weaving now. And although it's fine to have a varied bunch of different interests, I definitely have a lot of different interests. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, except if you're using, food budget money for it, or there's actually people are struggling because of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to be supportive of someone, especially if you are not a creative type yourself, or you haven't had that creative experience yet, to understand what is going on with this person. One day she's pottery girl, and the next day she's weaving girl, and this is so annoying. Just be something already, right? So You got to give people grace. That's one of the big takeaways today is giving your family and friends grace. They don't understand, and that's okay. Just know that they don't understand, and it's okay. One of my biggest things I want to say though today is when it comes to being creative and working with people who aren't super supportive of that, I want you to think about how you can make this as easy as possible for them to be able to support you. And what I mean by that is I'm going to break this down a little bit, but make it super, super easy for them to be able to support your work. Don't make it hard for them. And what I mean by that is, okay, care for yourself and for your space. We've all had roommates who just kind of took over the house and never cleaned, and they were the nightmare roommate to have. Remember them back in the day? Maybe you still have one, but maybe you are that person. But seriously, if you live in a community, whether it's your family or roommates, clean up after yourself. Clean your paintbrushes. Don't leave your food in the sink. Make it so you're easy to live with. And don't give your community reasons to resent your art, because it really has nothing to do with your art. They're actually resenting how poorly you treat them. And yes, it's being treated poor when you never clean the bathroom or you don't look after yourself. Okay, so let's be grown-ups and let's take care of ourselves and take care of our space, and so that other people can see that we respect them as much as we respect our own art and our own creative expression. Okay, so and then for the other thing is, I don't want you to also think that being a mess externally is the only way that you can create. I think some people think that being an artiste means having an attitude and just being plain mean to others because they're in this artist mood, so they're more moody, and that's not true. You can be a cheerful and kind person and be a great artist. You don't have to be mean. And so let's consider others, and again, make it easy for them to support your work, okay? One of the things, an example I have of this not being very nice is a friend many, many years ago who decided they were going to be completely authentic and just wear their emotions on their sleeves. And they announced, I'll never forget it, because they announced this one evening and all of us looked at her and went, oh, oh no, what does this mean? And I got to find out what it meant because I made the mistake of going clothes shopping with her and I still haven't recovered. It was just, wow, really? You just said that? I can't believe you just said that. And she worked through that stage and is a very amazing, genuine person. But it just goes to show that being authentic does not mean being unkind. It means, yeah, it does mean being real. But that doesn't mean you say everything. You still can keep a bit of a filter. So again, as we're creating, as we're becoming more and more creative people, we want to make it so creativity is attractive and that it's a beautiful thing that other people want to experience, not this thing that makes people feel jealous or hurt, makes them feel like they're second best to your paint set. That's pretty sad, so let's keep our priorities straight. And that's something I didn't even write down here, is that as much as I'm a huge proponent for creativity and creative expression, it's not anything that's going to stop the world from spinning. And sometimes we get a little in our heads that it's more important than it really is. Yes, creativity is important. Creative expression is very important, I think, for our health and for our well-being and for our joy. But not being able to create one day because the kids are sick, or having to put your stuff away early because your roommate just is going to have a few friends over and you just don't have room to have your stuff out. Whatever it is, it's not the end of the world, is what I'm saying. So let's give ourselves a reality check there, okay? Another thing, this one's a little more tricky. Some of you might raise your eyebrow at this one, but I would suggest creating on your own time. In other words, get up earlier before anyone. Yeah, get up earlier. I know it's hard, but get up earlier and make your stuff. You'll have the house to yourself. It'll be quiet. You can get probably a lot more done than you would think you could. So that's one thing. I think if you are creating on your own time, it's a lot easier for people to support it because they see that you're serious about this. This is something that actually is so important to you that you're willing to give up a little sleep, or you're willing to give up your lunch break for it. And it's not something that you just talk about and give a lot of lip service to, right? And I think this idea of creating on your own time is kind of a thinly disguised test. Not really disguised because I'm telling you about it, but in that it will really you'll really be able to tell if this is something that's important to you. In other words, if you're always talking about how you want to be a writer and you just want to write and that is your thing, and someday you want to publish all of these novels and just be amazing, right? But the idea of getting up an hour earlier is no way. Are you kidding me? No, my sleep is important, right? Okay, well then I guess you won't be getting any writing done then, right? So it really is kind of a test to see, is this something that you really want to make happen? Is this something that is that important to you to invest your time in, invest your own personal resources in to have it come true? It won't be easy. And I think that as you do this, you'll find that your own creative muscles will be built up because you'll be, as I said again, declaring to yourself and to the world that this is important, this matters to you, and it matters so much that you're willing to sacrifice a bit for it. And that's what it's kind of all about, you guys. I don't think very many people realize that so many creatives do their creative practice on their own time. It's kind of how it happens for most people. So not something to keep in mind as well. Anyway, so I just wanted to tell you that if you're creating on your own time, staying the course and considering the needs of others, chances are your family will grow less guarded when it comes to you working on your projects, and they'll see that you really are serious about this, and maybe this time your joy will be so contagious that they'll want to get on board too. I think it's really, really important to, again, make it easy for your family and your friends to be supportive of your work by being considerate of them. And you really can do this. You can stay this course. You can have a successful creative life, however success looks to you, because it's defined in so many different ways. And you can keep doing this wonderful, amazing creative life. And I wish you amazing joy and a wonderful day, and keep up your creative practice, and I'll see you on another day. Bye.